The stars looked different from this part of space. Captain James Walker stood on the bridge of the Earth Coalition vessel Perseverance, his eyes fixed on the main view screen. The Vex homeworld hung there like a massive blue-green jewel, surrounded by a web of orbital stations that glinted in the light of its sun. "Nervous, Captain?" asked Lisa Torres, his second in command. Her dark hair was pulled back in the tight bun she always wore on important missions. Walker shook his head. Cautious. The Vex haven't shown much interest in making friends before now. Torres nodded. Everyone on the diplomatic mission knew what was at stake. Humanity had spread to a dozen colony worlds in the last century, but the Vex Dominion controlled hundreds. Their technology was advanced, their ships faster and stronger than anything Earth had built so far. Making peace with them wasn't just good politics, it might be necessary for survival. "They're sending the docking instructions now," said the communications officer. "They want only you and Commander Torres to come aboard their station at first." Walker nodded. "Standard procedure. Keep the ship ready just in case." The shuttle ride to the Vex station was short but tense. Walker studied his reflection in the window. At 45, his face showed the lines of someone who had carried responsibility for too long. His brown hair had patches of gray at the temples. The uniform he wore felt stiff and formal, but appropriate for humanity's first official meeting with the Vex leadership. "Remember," he told Torres as they neared the docking bay, "they value directness but consider emotional displays a sign of weakness." "I've studied the briefing materials too, James," Torres replied with a small smile. "I won't embarrass Earth by crying or laughing at the wrong moment." The docking bay was massive, clearly built for ships much larger than their small shuttle. The architecture was all angles and sharp edges, with no curves or soft lines anywhere. It matched what they knew of Vex psychology: practical, efficient, and without concern for comfort or beauty. 5 Vex waited for them. Walker had seen images before, but the reality was more imposing. They stood nearly 7 feet tall, their bodies covered in a hard exoskeleton that looked metallic, but was actually a biological feature. Their 4 arms ended in 3-fingered hands, and their triangular heads housed large compound eyes that seemed to take in everything at once. The one in the center stepped forward. "I am Elder Krill," it said, its voice coming through the translation device with a mechanical flatness. "I speak for the Vex High Command in these discussions." Walker bowed slightly. "Captain James Walker of Earth. This is Commander Lisa Torres. We bring greetings from the Earth Coalition and hope for productive talks." The Vex didn't return the gesture. "Follow," Krill said simply, turning and walking toward a large doorway. The other Vex fell into formation around the humans, not quite guards but definitely watching. The meeting room was large and spare, with a table made of some dark material that looked like stone but felt warm to the touch. Walker and Torres sat on one side, while Krill and 2 other Vex sat opposite. "We monitor your expansion," Krill began without preamble. "Your species grows quickly. 12 worlds in less than a century." Walker nodded. "We seek new homes and resources, but we have no interest in territory claimed by others. That's why establishing diplomatic relations with the Dominion is important to us." Krill's compound eyes seemed to shimmer slightly. "Your technological progress is also rapid. Our data shows your weapons capability has doubled in 20 years. Defensive technology," Torres clarified. "We've had encounters with the Krell that made improvements necessary." One of the other Vex leaned over and made a series of clicking sounds to Krill. The translator didn't catch it, but Walker noticed how Krill's posture stiffened afterward. "We will continue these discussions tomorrow," Krill announced suddenly. "You will be shown to your quarters." Walker frowned. "We had hoped to cover the trade proposal today." "Tomorrow," Krill repeated, standing to signal the end of the meeting. That night, in the sparse quarters they had been given, Walker and Torres discussed the abrupt ending to the talks. "They're worried about something," Torres said, keeping her voice low. "Did you notice how they reacted when you mentioned the Krell?" Walker nodded. The Vex and Krell have their own history, but there's something else going on. I've received 3 messages from different colony worlds about Vex ships being spotted near their space. Scouts? Torres asked. Maybe, but why now, during peace talks? A chime at their door interrupted them. When it slid open, a different Vex stood there, smaller than the others they had seen. I am Miv, it said quietly. A scientist. I must speak with you. Walker gestured for Miv to enter. The alien glanced nervously down the corridor before stepping inside. The High Command has received reports, Miv said without prelude. They believe humans are developing quantum displacement weapons. Walker's eyes widened. That's not true. Those are theoretical concepts only. We have no such weapons program. Others believe differently, Miv replied. There are those who see your species as a future threat that should be addressed now. Torres stepped forward. Are you saying they're planning to attack us during peace negotiations? I say nothing, Miv answered, backing toward the door. I only suggest you prepare for possibilities. After Miv left, Walker tried to contact the Perseverance, but found communications were being blocked. This isn't good, he muttered. 4 hours later, they were awakened by the sound of their door being locked from the outside. Walker tried the communication panel again. Nothing. We're prisoners, Torres said grimly. At that same moment, across space, 3 Vex battle fleets emerged from hyperspace near the human colony worlds of Horizon, New Terra, and Arcadia. Without warning or declaration, they opened fire. On Horizon, Mark Davis was teaching his daughter to fish in the lake near their home when the sky turned red with fire. The orbital defense stations didn't even have time to activate before they were destroyed. On New Terra, the capital city of Hope's Landing had just begun its day when the bombardment started. The governor managed to send one desperate message to Earth before the communications center was reduced to rubble. On Arcadia, the farming colony had no defenses at all. 18,000 people vanished in the first hour of the attack. Back on the Vex station, Walker and Torres felt the subtle vibration as the station's engines powered up. Through their small window, they watched as the Perseverance was surrounded by Vex military vessels. What's happening? Torres asked, though she already suspected the answer. Walker's face was grim. They're making a mistake, he said quietly. One they'll regret for generations to come. On the bridge of the lead Vex battleship, Elder Krill received the reports from the attack fleets. The human colonies have been neutralized, reported a military officer. Their defenses were minimal. And their response? Krill asked. None yet. Their communications are in chaos. Krill made a gesture of satisfaction. They will understand now. Humans will learn their place in the galaxy, or they will not survive in it. The officer hesitated. Some argue this action was premature. Weakness invites aggression, Krill replied. Remember that. But as the Vex fleet moved away, confident in their show of power, they failed to understand a fundamental truth about the species they had just attacked. Humans did not forget, and they would not forgive. The hunt was about to begin. Admiral Thomas Reed stood before the remains of Earth's United Defense Council. His uniform was crisp, but his eyes were red from lack of sleep. The emergency meeting room deep beneath Old Denver had been in continuous use for 3 days since the attacks. The final casualty reports are in, he said, his voice steady despite the weight of the news he carried. Horizon, 4.2 million dead. New Terra, 3.7 million. Arcadia, all 18,000 colonists lost. Silence filled the room. The 12 council members stared at the holographic displays showing the ruins of once thriving colonies. And the Perseverance? Asked Councillor Maria Chen, her face pale under the harsh lighting. Reed shook his head. No contact since the attacks began. We must assume Captain Walker, Commander Torres, and the entire diplomatic team have been lost. Robert Patel, the youngest council member, slammed his fist on the table. This was a calculated strike. They met with us in bad faith, while planning to hit our most vulnerable colonies. We agree, Reed said. Intelligence suggests the Vex believe we're developing advanced weapons that threaten them. It appears they chose a preemptive strike rather than diplomatic channels. What's our response? Counselor Chen asked, her voice now hard with controlled anger. The Vex control hundreds of worlds. Their fleet is at least 5 times the size of ours. Admiral Reed straightened to his full height. They believe they've taught us fear, he stated grimly. We will teach them regret. He activated a new hologram showing a complex series of military plans and ship designs. This is the Prometheus Protocol. It was developed after our first encounters with the Krell species as a contingency plan for existential threats. The council members leaned forward, studying the displays. Every shipyard on Earth and our remaining colonies will be converted to military production. Reed continued. All civilian spacecraft larger than 200 meters will be retrofitted for military use. Universal conscription for anyone with spaceflight or combat experience. You're talking about putting our entire civilization on a war footing, Counselor Patel said. Reed nodded. The Vex expect us to cower, to negotiate from a position of weakness. They don't understand what they've done. He pressed a button, and the hologram changed to show a new type of ship design. These are long-range pursuit vessels, faster and more maneuverable than anything we've built before. They sacrifice heavy armor for speed and stealth capabilities. They won't win in direct confrontation with Vex battleships, but they don't need to. What's their purpose? Chen asked. Reed's eyes were cold. To hunt. Across the galaxy, on a Vex prison station orbiting a small moon, Captain James Walker paced his cell. The space was barely large enough for his human frame, clearly designed for species smaller than the Vex themselves. In the cell next to his, Commander Torres sat with her back against the wall, eyes closed but alert. That's the 3rd patrol in the last hour, she murmured as footsteps passed their cells. Something's got them agitated. Walker nodded. They've attacked our colonies by now. They wouldn't have imprisoned us otherwise. Earth will respond, Torres said. Yes, Walker agreed. But the Vex don't understand what that means. The footsteps returned, then stopped outside their cells. The energy field dimmed, and a small Vex appeared. Walker recognized Miv, the scientist who had warned them. Quickly, Miv said, glancing down the corridor. I have disabled surveillance for 3 minutes only. Why are you helping us? Torres asked as they stepped from their cells. The High Command's decision was incorrect, Miv replied, leading them through dimly lit corridors. Not all Vex support this action. Follow me to the shuttle bay. They moved through the station, hiding whenever patrol groups approached. Miv's knowledge of the security systems proved invaluable. The Vex believe humans will submit after the demonstration of force, Miv explained as they reached a maintenance tunnel. Is this accurate? Walker's laugh was bitter. No. Your leaders have made a terrible miscalculation. Humans fought 3 wars among ourselves before we even left our home planet, Torres added. We don't surrender easily. They reached the small shuttle bay where a single transport vessel waited. Miv moved to the control panel and began entering codes. This shuttle has limited range, the Vex explained, but it will reach the communication relay on the 5th moon. From there, you may be able to contact your people. Come with us, Walker said. You've committed treason by helping us. They'll execute you. Miv's head tilted in what might have been resignation. I must return to my duties. The consequences of this attack will affect all Vex. I must work to minimize them from within. As they boarded the shuttle, Miv handed Torres a small device. This contains the coordinates of major Vex military installations and hyperspace routes. It may help your people. The shuttle launched without incident, slipping away from the prison station undetected. Walker took the controls while Torres examined the device Miv had given them. This is everything, James, she said, her voice hushed with awe. Fleet positions, defense capabilities, colony locations. This could give Earth a fighting chance. Walker nodded grimly. We need to reach that relay. The shuttle was halfway to the moon when alarms blared. 3 Vex patrol ships appeared on the sensors, closing quickly. They found us, Torres said. Walker pushed the engines beyond safety limits. We only need to get close enough to the relay to transmit the data. The patrol ships opened fire. The shuttle rocked as energy blasts struck its shields. Warning lights flashed across the control panel. Shields failing, Walker announced. Torres, prepare to transmit at maximum power when I say. He swung the shuttle in a wide arc, putting the bulk of the moon between them and their pursuers. It bought them precious seconds to close the distance to the relay. Now, Walker shouted as they came into range. Torres activated the transmitter, sending the contents of Miv's device along with a message from Walker. The data streamed toward Earth, carrying the locations of their enemies and a promise. No matter how far they run, tell them we're coming. The patrol ships reappeared, weapons firing. A direct hit shook the shuttle violently. The engines died, and emergency systems activated as atmosphere vented from multiple hull breaches. Did it all transmit? Walker asked, blood trickling from a cut on his forehead. Torres checked the system. Yes, Earth will know where to find them. As their shuttle drifted, systems failing and life support fading, Walker stared out at the stars. In the distance, he could see the Vex ships approaching to capture or destroy them. They think this is the end, he said quietly. Torres reached over and gripped his hand. No, this is just the beginning. On Earth, Admiral Reed received Walker's transmission. The coordinates of Vex military installations appeared on screens throughout the command center. The message that followed brought a cold smile to Reed's face. Prepare the fleet, he ordered. The hunt begins. 5 years passed. In the central chamber of the Vex High Command, Elder Krill stood before the Leadership Council. His exoskeleton had darkened with age, giving him a more imposing appearance than when he had first met the humans. The border dispute with the Talari Confederation requires our attention, Krill stated, pointing to a star map. They have moved forces into the narrow sector despite our warnings. Commander Draz, the military leader who had overseen the attacks on the human colonies, made a dismissive gesture. The Talari are cautious. They test our resolve but will not risk open conflict. And what of the humans? Asked a younger council member. Our deep space monitors show increased activity in their remaining systems. Draz clicked his mandibles in what passed for laughter among the Vex. The humans rebuild their colonies. Their military vessels stay within their borders. Our demonstration was effective. Krill nodded slowly. 5 years with no retaliation suggests they have accepted their position. Perhaps we should consider a diplomatic. An aide rushed into the chamber, breaking protocol. Forgive the interruption, the aide said, bowing low. We have lost contact with Mining Outpost 47. Draz straightened. Communications malfunction, most likely. The asteroid belt in that system causes frequent disruptions. No, Commander. We have also lost contact with research stations in the Cora and Vexus systems. All at the same time. The council chamber fell silent. 3 facilities, in different star systems, going dark simultaneously was not a coincidence. Send investigation teams, Krill ordered. Full military escort. Far from the Vex homeworld, Fleet Commander Marcus Denton stood on the bridge of the Earth vessel Nemesis. 5 years of training and preparation had transformed him from a colony defense officer into the leader of humanity's most elite fighting force. Mining outpost neutralized, reported his tactical officer. No survivors, no communication sent. Denton nodded. Transmit the message, then prepare to jump to the next target. On the main view screen, the remains of the Vex outpost drifted in space. What had been a busy mining operation with over 300 Vex workers was now a field of debris. The attack had been swift, precise, and merciless. Before the Nemesis disappeared into hyperspace, it broadcast a simple message in the Vex language. Remember Horizon. Across Vex space, 11 other human vessels were completing similar missions. Each strike team had trained for years for this single day, the beginning of what humanity called the Long Hunt. 2 weeks later, Elder Krill reviewed the damage reports with growing concern. 12 facilities attacked on the same day, all completely destroyed. No survivors, no witnesses. The humans, he said quietly. Commander Draz paced the room. Impossible. They don't have the fleet strength or the technology to reach so deep into our territory. An intelligence officer entered with a data tablet. We've analyzed the message transmitted at each attack site, she reported. Remember Horizon. It refers to one of their colonies we neutralized 5 years ago. They waited, Krill realized. 5 years of preparation. Our border sensors detected nothing, Draz insisted. No fleet could penetrate. They didn't send a fleet, Krill interrupted. The attack patterns suggest small, fast ships, stealth technology beyond what we believe humans possessed. Draz's compound eyes flashed with anger. This changes nothing. The Dominion spans hundreds of worlds. We will increase security at key installations and catch these raiders when they strike again. Krill wasn't convinced. We should open communication channels, offer reparations for the colonies. End this before it escalates. Weakness. Draz slammed his upper arms on the table. We do not negotiate with inferior species who strike from the shadows. Then prepare your forces, Commander, Krill said grimly, because I fear this is only the beginning. On the edge of Vex space, the Nemesis rendezvous with the Vengeance, another ship from the pursuit fleet. Both vessels powered down non-essential systems to maintain stealth. Commander Denton met with Captain Alex Rivera of the Vengeance in a secure briefing room. Phase 1 complete, Rivera reported. All teams hit their targets successfully. Minimal damage to our ships. Denton nodded. The Vex are scrambling to protect their core worlds. They're pulling forces from the outer regions exactly as Admiral Reed predicted. They'll adapt quickly, Rivera warned. Our next strikes will face stronger resistance. That's why we're changing tactics, Denton explained, bringing up a holographic map. Phase 2 isn't about military targets. We're hitting their supply lines, communication relays, and trade routes. Rivera studied the new targets. Economic warfare. The Vex Empire is too large to destroy piece by piece, Denton said, but we can make it impossible to maintain. Every resource they commit to defense is one they can't use elsewhere. Every trade ship that refuses to fly their routes weakens them. And the message changes. Denton's face was grim. Yes. Remember Nuterra. 3 months later, a Vex merchant vessel drifted through space, its engines destroyed but life support still functioning. The crew huddled in the central chamber, listening to the sound of human boarding parties moving through their ship. The captain, a veteran trader named Tav, had heard the stories. The humans didn't kill civilians, not directly. They disabled engines, took navigational data, and left crews stranded for Vex rescue teams to find days or weeks later. The door to the chamber slid open. A human in black combat armor stood there, face hidden behind a reflective visor. Your ship is disabled, the human said in perfect Vex language. Emergency beacon activated. Help will come eventually. Why are you doing this? Tav asked. We carry agricultural supplies, not weapons. The human tilted its head slightly. Your empire attacked without warning. Killed millions of civilians. Did you protest then? Before Tav could answer, the human tossed something onto the floor, a small holographic projector. Then the boarding party left as quickly as they had arrived. The projector activated, showing images of Nuterra before and after the Vex attack. The thriving colony reduced to ash and rubble. The message was clear. This was not random violence. This was calculated retribution. By the time Vex rescue ships arrived, the human vessels were long gone, disappeared into the vastness of space to prepare for their next strike. On the Vex homeworld, the High Command faced growing unrest. Trade guilds demanded more protection for their ships. Colonial governors requested additional defense forces. Military commanders struggled to predict where the humans would strike next. "They're everywhere and nowhere," Draz admitted reluctantly during an emergency session. "Small strike teams operating independently, hitting targets across our territory with no discernible pattern." "There is a pattern," Krill countered. "They're hunting us. Methodically, patiently, relentlessly." A science advisor named Miv, recently promoted to the advisory council, spoke up. "The humans sent us a warning before we attacked them. Their Captain Walker said humans don't forget, and they don't forgive. I believe we are seeing the truth of those words." Commander Draz glared at the scientist. "Your solution, then?" Miv met his gaze steadily. "Find a way to make peace or prepare for a very long war." As the debate continued, reports arrived of another human strike, deeper in Vex territory than ever before. The hunt continued. 10 years into what humans called the Long Hunt, the Vex Dominion was no longer the unquestioned power it once had been. In the Grand Council chamber that had once hosted representatives from 100 vassal worlds, barely 30 seats were now filled. Elder Krill, his exoskeleton now bearing the deep purple hue of advanced age, studied the faces of those who remained. Fear had replaced the arrogance that once characterized these meetings. "The Talari Confederation has formally ended our trade agreement," announced a guild representative. "They claim our shipping lanes are too dangerous." "The Rukal have withdrawn from our defense pact," added a military officer. "Their ambassador stated they cannot risk being associated with the Dominion while we are subject to human attention," as they phrased it. Commander Draz, once the proud architect of the attack on human colonies, now looked worn down. The constant stress of failing to stop the human strikes had taken its toll. "Our military resources are stretched to breaking point," Draz admitted. "We maintain heavy defenses at our core worlds and major production facilities, but we cannot protect everything. The outer colonies are essentially on their own." "And still the humans come," Krill said quietly. "Yes," Draz hissed. "Always in small numbers, always striking where we are weakest, always vanishing before we can respond in force." Miv, now a senior advisor, brought up a holographic display. "This shows confirmed human attacks over the past decade. Note how they have systematically targeted our infrastructure, not just military installations, but food production, fuel processing, communication networks." The display showed hundreds of points of light spread across the map of Vex territory, forming a web of destruction that had slowly tightened around their civilization. "They are not trying to defeat us in battle," Miv continued. "They are dismantling our empire piece by piece." A troubled silence fell over the council chamber. "What do they want?" asked a colony governor. "Why haven't they made demands?" Krill's compound eyes dimmed slightly. "Because this isn't about demands. This is about justice. About consequences." Admiral Lisa Torres stood on the bridge of the Earth flagship Retribution. At 52, her hair was now completely gray, but her eyes remained sharp and focused. The decade of war had changed her, hardened her in ways she sometimes didn't recognize. "Status report," she ordered. Her executive officer, Commander Ryan Chen, brought up the tactical display. "Strike Team 7 has completed its mission in the Vex mining sector. Strike Teams 3 and 9 are en route to their targets in the agricultural belt." Torres nodded. "Casualties. We lost 2 crew members on Team 4 when their shuttle malfunctioned," Chen reported grimly. "Total losses remain under 3% of operational forces. It was a remarkably low casualty rate for a decade-long campaign, but Torres felt every loss personally. The pursuit fleet operated with minimal personnel. Each ship carried only what crew was absolutely necessary, making every death significant. The latest intelligence from deep cover operatives suggests the Vex central government is facing serious internal challenges," Chen continued. "At least 3 outer colony worlds have stopped sending resources to the core systems." "The pressure is working," Torres said, studying the map. Red markers showed confirmed successful strikes, while blue markers indicated planned future targets. There were far more red than blue now. "Admiral," Chen said hesitantly, "the crew has been asking, when does this end? We've been hunting the Vex for 10 years. The massive alien ship darkened the sky as it approached Earth's orbit. Its hull was scratched and dented, bearing the marks of countless space battles. This was no diplomatic vessel or trading ship. It was a garbage truck." Captain Jack Reed watched from the observation deck of Orbital Station Echo as the alien vessel opened its cargo hold. A cloud of space junk tumbled out, broken engine parts, twisted metal panels, shattered computer cores, and other bits of technology Reed couldn't even name. "Another delivery from our generous galactic neighbors," he said dryly. Lisa, his second-in-command, stepped beside him. "Third one this week. The Galactic Council must be cleaning house." Reed nodded. 10 years ago, when humans first achieved faster-than-light travel, they'd been shocked to discover they weren't alone in the universe. Even more shocking was learning their place in the cosmic order. Earth wasn't invited to join the Galactic Council as equals. Instead, it was designated as Disposal Zone 7, the bottom of the interstellar hierarchy. "Start the collection drones," Reed ordered, "and tell Marcus to prep the sorting bay." In the 3 years since Reed had taken command of Earth's largest orbital scrapyard, he'd learned to make the best of a bad situation. The aliens might see Earth as a trash can, but Reed saw opportunity in every piece of discarded technology. Marcus Gray, chief engineer of Echo Station, whistled as the sorting conveyor brought in the latest haul. His thick hands, calloused from years of mechanical work, picked through circuit boards and power cells with surprising gentleness. "Well, what do we have here?" he murmured, holding up a small hexagonal device. It was barely larger than his palm, made of a dark metal that seemed to drink in the light. When he turned it over, faint blue lines pulsed across its surface like veins. He set it aside in a special container that already held 6 similar devices found in previous deliveries. The container was marked Whispers, named for the faint, almost inaudible hum the objects made when placed near each other. In her lab 2 decks below, Dr. Emma Torres frowned at her computer screen. Something wasn't adding up. She'd been analyzing the junk deliveries for patterns, looking at which alien species delivered what and when. The data showed something strange. "Computer, display all deliveries from the Arcturus sector, last 6 months." The screen filled with dates, ship IDs, and manifest listings. Emma's eyes narrowed. Why would the Krell battleships be dumping navigation systems? They're at war with the Dovan Republic. They should be keeping every advantage. She pulled up another file. And why are the Dovans discarding quantum shielding units during the same conflict? A knock at her door interrupted her thoughts. She looked up to see Reed standing there. "Got a minute, Doctor?" he asked. "Actually, I'm glad you're here," Emma said, gesturing to her screen. "I think something weird is happening with our trash deliveries." 2 hours later, Reed called an emergency meeting in the station's secure conference room. Present were Lisa, Marcus, Emma, and Tom Blake, the station's security chief. "I believe we're being used," Reed said bluntly. "Dr. Torres has found patterns suggesting the alien garbage drops are too organized to be random." Emma nodded. "Certain technologies are being systematically discarded by multiple species, often components that should be valuable to them. And there's this." She displayed a hologram showing the hexagonal devices Marcus had collected. "These components all connect to each other, creating what looks like a network. But they've been delivered by 6 different species over 8 months. That's no coincidence," Blake said, his security training making him instantly suspicious. Marcus scratched his beard. "Those whisper devices give off energy readings unlike anything in the Council's published tech catalogs. Why dump advanced tech on a backwater planet like ours?" Reed's communicator beeped. "Captain, we have an unauthorized shuttle approaching Docking Bay 3, came the voice of the station's traffic controller. Blake was on his feet immediately. Security teams to level 3. The alien who emerged from the shuttle was tall and thin, with pale blue skin and 4 arms. He wore no council insignia or species markings. "I am Vex," the alien said in perfect English. "I must speak with Captain Reed. Immediately. Privately." After a thorough security scan revealed no weapons, Reed agreed to meet with the visitor alone. "You have been collecting the whisper nodes," Vex said without preamble once they were behind closed doors. Reed kept his face neutral. "I don't know what you're talking about." Vex made a sound like gentle laughter. "Please, Captain, I helped design the delivery schedule. Certain factions within the Council have been working to help humanity without the others knowing. Why would anyone on the Council help us? They treat Earth like a cosmic landfill." "Politics," Vex said simply. "The Council is not united. Some of us believe humanity has potential. Others fear that potential and work to keep you weak. The trash designation was their idea. Keep humans busy sorting garbage while limiting your access to advanced technology." Reed leaned forward. "But you've been hiding technology in our garbage." "Precisely. Technology the Council banned centuries ago. Technology that could change everything." "What exactly are these whisper nodes?" Vex's 4 hands made a complex gesture. "They are components of a detection system that operates on principles your scientists haven't discovered yet. When properly assembled, they can hear the movements of ships across vast distances, see through cloaking fields, detect communications thought to be secure." Reed's mind raced with possibilities. "Why give this to us?" "Because war is coming, Captain Reed. The Council majority has decided Earth has too much potential and too few defenses. Some want your resources, others want your labor. None plan to ask permission." "And what do you want?" Vex's alien face showed something like sadness. "Balance. Change. For too long, the older species have kept the younger ones down. Perhaps it is time for that to end." He handed Reed a small data crystal. "This contains location data for 12 more whisper nodes, disguised and hidden in upcoming deliveries. There are also basic assembly instructions." "Why would I trust you?" Reed asked. "You shouldn't," Vex replied. "But verify my claims. Study the nodes you've collected. Your Dr. Torres is already seeing the patterns." After Vex departed, Reed sat alone for a long time, turning the data crystal over in his hands, thinking about whispers in the dark and garbage that might save humanity. That night, Reed called his most trusted crew to a secret meeting in the station's maintenance level. "From now on," he told them, showing them the crystal and explaining his meeting with Vex, "we have a new priority. Every delivery gets thoroughly scanned for these whisper components. If what the alien says is true, we're talking about building something the Council explicitly forbids," Blake warned. "They already see us as trash collectors," Lisa said. "Maybe it's time to show them what humans can build from garbage." Reed looked around the room at his team. "The choice is yours. This could be dangerous." Marcus picked up one of the hexagonal devices, watching the blue light pulse across its surface. Danger never stopped humans before. "I say we build this thing and see what whispers we can hear." One by one, they all nodded in agreement. In the darkness of space around them, more alien ships were already approaching, their holds full of trash, and hidden within, pieces of a weapon that would change the fate of Earth forever. 3 months after meeting Vex, Captain Reed stood in a hidden chamber deep within asteroid BX 722. The large, hollow rock had once been an abandoned mining operation. Now it served a new purpose. "How's it coming along?" Reed asked as he approached Marcus. The chief engineer looked up from the strange device he was assembling. 37 whisper nodes now formed a complex pattern across the floor of the chamber, each hexagonal piece connected to others with thin beams of blue light. "It's talking to itself," Marcus said, wiping sweat from his forehead. "These components recognize each other, like they want to be together." Reed nodded. The data crystal from Vex had led them to more of the whisper nodes hidden in trash deliveries. Each new piece they added made the network more powerful. And what exactly is it doing? Reed asked. Marcus shrugged. That's still Emma's department. All I know is that it's creating some kind of field that extends far beyond this asteroid. In another section of the asteroid, Emma Torres stared at screens filled with data. Behind her, a wall displayed a three-dimensional map of nearby space. Small dots of light moved across it, ships traveling through the solar system. Look at this, she said as Lisa entered the room. Lisa approached the display. Those are Council patrol ships, right? Yes, standard patrols that pass through our system every week. Emma tapped a few keys, and suddenly new dots appeared on the screen. Smaller, fainter, and these are ships that shouldn't be there at all. Lisa's eyes widened. Cloaked vessels. The Whisper network can see them. Emma nodded. It's picking up ripples in what Vex called subspace, the layer of reality ships use for faster-than-light travel. Nothing can move through subspace without creating ripples, and the Whisper network detects those ripples. Like seeing the wake of an invisible boat, Lisa said. Exactly, and it gets better. Emma zoomed the display out to show a much larger area of space. We're picking up echoes from as far as the Arcturus sector. The network hears every whisper between the stars. Fleet Admiral Diane West was not easily impressed. As the highest-ranking officer in Earth's defense forces, she had seen her share of scientific breakthroughs. But what Reed showed her that day made even her stern face show surprise. You built this from alien garbage, she asked, walking around the Whisper network that now filled the asteroid chamber. Yes, Mom, Reed replied, with help from an alien informant. And you trust this? Vex. I trust what I can verify. Admiral, the network works. It sees what our sensors can't. It hears what no one else can hear. Admiral West stopped walking and faced Reed. Do you understand what you've done, Captain? You've built an intelligence-gathering system beyond anything the Council has allowed us to have. If they find out, they'll destroy it, Reed finished, and possibly us along with it. But we need to know what's happening out there. Vex wasn't wrong about one thing. The Council members don't all have our best interests at heart. After a long moment, West nodded. This operation is now classified under Black Star Protocol. Official support, complete deniability. Tom Blake sat alone in his security office on Echo Station, reviewing footage from a Council inspection ship that had visited that morning. The lizard-like aliens had spent hours searching the station, claiming they were looking for prohibited technology transfers. They had found nothing, of course. All the Whisper components had been moved to the asteroid base weeks ago. But the timing of the inspection worried Blake. His computer beeped. It was a secure message from one of his sources in Earth's diplomatic corps. Council requesting permission for expanded military exercises near Saturn. The message read, "Unprecedented fleet size proposed." Blake frowned. Why would the Council need military exercises in Earth's solar system? And why now? They're tracking our movements, Reed said during the next team meeting at the asteroid base. Blake's report confirms they're suspicious. But they don't know about this place, Lisa said. The inspection team found nothing. Maybe not, but they're not stupid, Marcus added. They've delivered this tech to us, piece by piece. They must suspect we're doing something with it. Emma brought up the space map, now showing a large collection of dots near Saturn. Council ships are gathering for exercises, but the Whisper network is picking up unusual communication patterns between them. They're searching for something. Reed turned to the newest addition to their team, Kate, a linguistics expert who had been analyzing the alien communications captured by the Whisper network. Any progress decoding their secure channels, he asked. Kate pushed her glasses up. The Council species use different languages, but I've found patterns in their communications. They keep referring to something called protocol silence, and they're specifically looking for technology signatures that match our Whisper network. The room fell quiet. So they know, Lisa said finally. Reed shook his head. They suspect, But they don't know. If they knew, they'd have come directly here. What do we do? Marcus asked. We keep building, Reed decided. But we need to be smarter about it. Emma, can you find a way to mask the network's energy signature? Emma thought for a moment. The whisper nodes absorb energy rather than emit it. That's why they look dark. If we build the proper housing for the network, we might be able to contain what little emissions there are. Do it, Reed ordered. And Marcus, it's time to think bigger than just a detection system. Marcus raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? Reed walked to the center of the room, where a holographic projector showed the growing whisper network. Vex's data suggested these components were originally designed for a ship, not just a detection system, but the core of a vessel that could move through space undetected. A stealth ship? Blake asked skeptically. More than stealth, Reed explained. The whispers don't just detect ripples in subspace. Properly configured, they might be able to manipulate those ripples. Kate looked up from her console. Captain, I just decoded more of their communications. They're not just searching. They're preparing something called Containment Protocol for Earth. Reed's face hardened. Then we don't have much time. Admiral West needs to see this. Later that night, as the rest of the team slept, Reed stood alone in the chamber with the whisper network. The hexagonal nodes pulsed with blue light, creating patterns like stars in a private galaxy. He placed his hand near one of the nodes. The blue light seemed to reach for him, bending toward his fingers without quite touching them. What are you? He whispered. As if in response, the lights pulsed faster, and for just a moment, Reed thought he heard something. A sound just at the edge of hearing. Not words exactly, but a presence. The Council announces expanded military exercises near Jupiter and Saturn, beginning next week. The news flashed across screens all over Earth. Most humans paid little attention. Council ships had become a common sight in the solar system. But at the hidden asteroid base, Tom Blake watched the announcement with narrowed eyes. Military exercises don't require 73 ships, he said to no one in particular. Reed nodded. And they don't need ships designed for planetary assault. The Whisper network had grown powerful enough to identify ship types based on their subspace ripples. What the Council claimed were routine exercise vessels were actually invasion craft. How much longer until we're ready? Reed asked, turning to Marcus and Emma. The two exchanged glances before Marcus spoke. The frame is almost complete, but we still need the core components for the propulsion system. Vex's data mentions special drive units. Emma added. They should be in the next garbage delivery, if the Council doesn't cancel it. Reed's communicator beeped. Captain, there's a message from Admiral West. Priority 1. An hour later, Reed met with his core team. His face was grim. Earth governments have enacted the Shadow Protocol, he announced. All defense forces are on high alert. The Council's exercises have been recognized as the threat they are. About time, Blake muttered. What does this mean for us? Lisa asked. It means we get full resources, Reed said, and a deadline. We have 10 days to make this ship operational. 10 days. Marcus sputtered. Captain, that's impossible. We've barely finished the outer hull. Earth doesn't have longer than that, Reed replied firmly. Admiral West has seen the latest Whisper network data. There's a massive fleet assembly happening beyond Pluto. The ships near Jupiter are just the advance force. The room fell silent as the reality of the situation sank in. We'll need more people, Emma said finally. Reed nodded. Each of you, pick your best 3 people from Echo Station. People you trust completely. We bring them here tonight. 3 days later, the asteroid base hummed with activity. 27 people now worked around the clock, assembling what had once been trash into humanity's most advanced vessel. In the main construction bay, the ship was taking form. It was unlike any human craft. Sleek and black, its hull seemed to drink in light rather than reflect it. The shape was oddly organic, like a predator from the deep ocean. Marcus supervised a team mounting the last of the whisper nodes into a spherical chamber at the heart of the vessel. "Careful with that," he shouted as a technician nearly dropped one of the hexagonal devices. "Each one is irreplaceable." Nearby, Emma and Kate worked on integrating their findings into the ship's systems. "The Whisper network isn't just a detection system," Emma explained to Reed as he checked on their progress. "It's a way to move through subspace differently than normal ships." "Different how?" Reed asked. Kate looked up from her computer. "Normal ships punch through into subspace, creating those ripples we detect. But these whisper nodes, they slit between the layers of reality. Like a ghost passing through a wall." "A ghost ship," Reed mused. "More like a shadow," Emma corrected. "It moves through the dark places between stars without disturbing them. That's why the Council banned this technology. A ship like this could go anywhere, hear anything, and never be detected. Unless you know exactly what to listen for," Reed finished the thought. On the 6th day, the garbage delivery they were waiting for finally arrived at Echo Station. Blake personally supervised the collection and sorting, finding the drive components hidden among broken engine parts from a Krell battleship. By the time he returned to the asteroid, the Council had announced that their exercises would be extended and expanded. "They're stalling," Blake told Reed as they rushed the components to Marcus, "waiting for their main fleet to get into position." "Then we'd better hurry," Reed said grimly. On the 8th day, disaster nearly struck. A Council scout ship changed course unexpectedly, heading directly toward their asteroid. "They must have detected something," Blake said, watching the approaching dot on their screens. "Shut down all systems," Reed ordered. "Everything except life support." For 6 tense hours, they waited in near darkness as the Council ship passed within 50,000 kilometers of their position. Only the Whisper network remained partially active, its components absorbing energy rather than emitting it. "They're moving away," Lisa finally reported. Reed breathed again. "They didn't see us, but they were looking for something. We're running out of time." On the 10th day, Admiral West arrived personally to inspect their progress. The ship, now named Nightingale after the Earth bird known for its beautiful song in darkness, was nearly complete. "It doesn't look like it could stand up to a Council destroyer," the Admiral observed, walking around the Nightingale's sleek hull. "It's not meant to," Reed explained. "The Nightingale doesn't fight conventionally. It moves where other ships can't go and sees what they can't see." West nodded slowly. "Our intelligence suggests the Council will begin their actual invasion in 3 days. Will it be ready?" "It has to be," Reed replied. That night, as final preparations continued, Reed found himself drawn to the core chamber of the Nightingale. The Whisper nodes now formed a perfect sphere at the heart of the ship, pulsing with blue light. As he approached, the light seemed to reach out to him, just as it had done before. "What are you trying to tell me?" he whispered. This time, the response was stronger. Not words, but impressions. Danger, urgency, and something else. A sense of recognition. As if the technology itself had been waiting for this moment. Reed placed his hand near the sphere, and the blue light danced around his fingers. In that instant, he understood something crucial. "You were made for us," he said softly. "The people who created you. They knew we would find you." The lights pulsed in what almost seemed like agreement. Behind him, Lisa cleared her throat. "Captain, the crew is assembled. We're ready for your briefing." Reed turned, a new determination in his eyes. "Tell them the Nightingale launches in 12 hours. We're taking her out for her first test flight." "So soon?" Lisa asked, surprised. Reed nodded, looking back at the Whisper Core. "She's ready, and I think she's eager to fly." The Council believed they had given Earth nothing but trash. Instead, humans had built something that whispered in the dark. And soon, those whispers would become a roar that would echo across the stars. "Final systems check complete," Lisa reported from her station on the Nightingale's bridge. "All Whisper nodes are operating at full capacity." Reed nodded, settling into the captain's chair. The bridge was unlike any on a standard Earth vessel. Instead of screens and control panels, WhisperTech interfaces glowed with soft blue light. The walls themselves seemed alive, showing the space around them, as if the ship's hull were transparent. "Engine status?" Reed asked. "Ready," Marcus replied from the engineering station. "But I still don't fully understand how they work. These aren't engines in the normal sense. They don't push or pull, they slide." "Weapons?" Reed continued. Blake frowned at his console. "We have standard defense systems, but they're almost an afterthought. This ship wasn't built primarily for combat." "No," Reed agreed. "It was built for something else." He turned to Emma. "Detection range." Emma's eyes widened as she read her display. "It's impossible. We're picking up ship movements across half the solar system. I can even detect communication signals from the Council homeworlds." "Then it's time." Reed took a deep breath. "Helm, take us out. Slow and steady." For a ship cobbled together from discarded alien tech by human engineers, with minimal understanding of its principles, the Nightingale moved with surprising grace. It slipped out of the asteroid's shadow and into the void. "No alarms from nearby Council ships," Blake reported. "They don't see us." "Increase speed," Reed ordered. "Let's see what she can do." The Nightingale accelerated smoothly, reaching speeds no human ship had achieved inside a solar system. Yet it produced no exhaust flare, no radiation signature, no detectable emissions of any kind. "We're approaching Jupiter," Lisa announced. "Council military exercises are ongoing in this sector." "Perfect," Reed said. "Take us closer. I want to see if they can detect us at close range." The Nightingale glided silently toward the massive form of Jupiter. Around the giant planet, dozens of Council ships maneuvered in what appeared to be battle formations. "They're practicing planetary approach vectors," Blake observed grimly. "Invasion patterns." As they watched, a Council command ship emerged from behind one of Jupiter's moons. It was massive, easily 10 times the size of the Nightingale. "Hold position," Reed ordered. "How close are we?" 50 kilometers, Lisa replied. "Well within their standard detection range." "And they've got no idea we're here," Marcus added with a note of wonder in his voice. Reed studied the Council ship through the Nightingale's transparent walls. "Emma, what can you tell me about their communications?" Emma was bent over her station, focusing intently. "I'm picking up everything. Internal ship communications, orders to the fleet, even personal messages between crew members. The whisper nodes aren't just hearing them. They're translating in real time." "And?" Reed prompted. Emma looked up, her face pale. "It's not exercises, Captain. It's staging. The main fleet is almost in position beyond Pluto. They're planning to attack in less than 48 hours. Targets: major population centers first, then military installations." Emma swallowed hard. "They're talking about resource extraction and population management. They're not planning to destroy Earth. They want to harvest it." A heavy silence fell over the bridge. "There's more," Kate added from her station. "I've been analyzing their secure transmissions. The Council isn't united on this. There's a group called the Syndicate pushing for the invasion. They want Earth's resources and humans as labor for their colonies." "Like Vex said," Reed murmured. "Politics." "Captain," Blake interrupted, "I'm detecting a shift in the Council ship's sensor array. They're running a deep space scan on this sector." "Can they see us?" Reed asked sharply. "I don't think so," but Blake was cut off by a sudden alarm. "They've launched scout ships, 4 of them, heading in our direction." "Time to test the Nightingale's true capabilities," Reed said calmly. "Marcus, activate the Whisper Core fully." Marcus hesitated. "Sir, we haven't tested it at full power yet. The effects could be—" "Understood. Do it anyway." Marcus nodded and adjusted controls on his panel. In the center of the ship, the sphere of whisper nodes pulsed brighter. The blue light spread through the ship's systems, and the bridge illumination dimmed momentarily. "What's happening?" Lisa asked. Reed felt a strange sensation, as if the ship itself had become less solid. The transparent walls showing the space around them took on a ghostly quality. "We're phasing," Emma whispered, checking her instruments, partially out of normal space. "The scout ships are still approaching," Blake reported, "but their scan patterns are erratic. They know something's here, but they can't get a lock on us." "Take us away," Reed ordered, slow and steady. As the Nightingale began to move, one of the scout ships suddenly changed course, heading directly toward them. "They've spotted us," Blake shouted. "No," Emma countered. "They've spotted something. The distortion perhaps, but not us specifically." The scout ship fired a warning shot, a beam of energy that passed through the space where the Nightingale floated. "They missed," Lisa said, relief in her voice. "Because we're not fully here," Reed realized. "Marcus, can we phase deeper?" Before Marcus could answer, the Council scout fired again, and this time, the beam grazed the Nightingale's hull. Alarms blared across the bridge. "Minor damage to the outer hull," Marcus reported. "The phasing isn't complete." "Return fire," Reed ordered. Blake's hands moved over his console. A moment later, the Nightingale's defensive weapons fired, but something unexpected happened. The energy beams, passing through the whisper field generated by the ship, changed. They split into hundreds of smaller beams, each targeting a different part of the Council scout simultaneously. The scout ship didn't explode. It simply went dark, all systems failing at once. "What did we do?" Blake asked, staring at his console in confusion. "The whisper field altered our weapon output," Emmett explained, rapidly analyzing data. "Instead of destroying their hull, it disrupted their systems. All of them, simultaneously." Reed leaned forward. "Can the other scouts see what happened?" "Yes," Blake confirmed. "They're backing off. Wait, they're sending an alert to the command ship." "Time to leave," Reed decided. "Marcus, maximum power to the Whisper core. Take us out of here, Lisa, beyond the Council's sensor range." The Nightingale surged forward, the blue glow of its systems intensifying. As it moved, it seemed to fade further from reality, becoming more shadow than substance. Behind them, the Council ships scrambled to respond, but the Nightingale was already gone, slipping between the layers of space like a whisper in the dark. "Set course for Earth," Reed ordered. "We need to warn Admiral West. The Council now knows something impossible is in our solar system. And time has just run out." "The Council fleet has begun its advance," Admiral West announced to the gathered military leaders in Earth's Unified Defense Command Center. 500 ships, approaching from beyond Pluto. On the main screen, tiny dots of light moved toward the inner solar system. Earth's combined defense fleet, barely 80 ships, looked pathetically small in comparison. "Our conventional forces cannot win this fight," West continued. "But we don't plan to fight conventionally." She nodded to Reed, who stepped forward. In the 24 hours since the Nightingale's return, Earth had been preparing for war. "The Council believes we're defenseless," Reed said. "They don't know what we've built from their trash." On the bridge of the Nightingale, Reed studied the tactical display. The whisper nodes had revealed something crucial. All ships traveling through subspace had to follow certain paths, like rivers flowing through the void. And all those paths to Earth converged at a single point. "Position us here," Reed ordered, pointing to the location where the subspace routes narrowed. "If we're going to make our stand, this is the place." Lisa guided the Nightingale to the coordinates. Around them, space looked empty to normal eyes. But through the whisper-enhanced sensors, they could see the currents of subspace, invisible highways along which the Council invasion fleet would travel. "The first wave will arrive in 30 minutes, Blake reported. Reed nodded. "Status of the Whisper core." "Running at maximum capacity," Marcus replied. "Whatever you're planning, Captain, we're ready." Reed turned to Emma and Kate. You've studied the whisper technology more than anyone. What happens if we reverse the field? The two women exchanged surprised looks. In theory, Emma said slowly, instead of allowing us to slide through subspace undetected, it would disrupt subspace itself. Like throwing a boulder into a stream, Kate added. It would create turbulence that no ship could safely navigate. Could we create that disruption without destroying ourselves? Reed asked. Marcus frowned, running calculations. Maybe, if we ejected the whisper core at the exact moment of activation. But Captain, we'd lose the heart of our ship. Better to lose one ship than our entire planet, Reed said firmly. As the Council fleet approached, the Nightingale waited silently. Through their enhanced communications, they could hear the Syndicate commanders confidently discussing how they would divide Earth's resources. They don't even consider us a threat, Blake said bitterly. Good, Reed replied. That's our advantage. The first wave of the invasion fleet, 100 ships strong, entered the subspace convergence point. The Nightingale's sensors showed them clearly, still unaware of the human vessel hiding in their midst. Now, Reed ordered. Marcus activated the final sequence. The whisper core, the heart of the Nightingale, began to pulse faster than ever before. The blue light turned almost white with intensity. Core ejection in 10 seconds, Marcus announced. Once it's released, we'll have 15 seconds to clear the disruption zone. Reed nodded. Lisa, plot our escape route. Everyone, secure for high-speed maneuvers. 5 seconds, Marcus counted down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Ejection. The core of whisper nodes, the technology painstakingly collected from alien trash over months, separated from the Nightingale. It floated in space, its light growing even brighter as the reverse field began to activate. Go, Reed shouted. The Nightingale surged away from the floating core, pushing its remaining systems to the limit. Behind them, the whisper core reached critical energy levels and exploded in a silent blast of blue-white light. But instead of a normal explosion that expanded outward, this one collapsed inward. It created a vortex, a swirling distortion in the fabric of subspace itself. On their sensors, they watched as the Council ships, caught in the disruption, were violently pulled from subspace back into normal space. Ships crashed into each other. Engines failed. Communication systems went dead. It worked, Emma whispered in awe. The entire first wave is disabled, Blake confirmed, checking his readings. And the distortion is still growing. It's affecting the second wave too. From Earth's command center, Admiral West watched as hundreds of Council ships suddenly appeared in normal space, their formations shattered, many of them damaged or powerless. Phase 2, she ordered. Earth's defense fleet, small but prepared, moved in to engage the crippled invasion force. It wasn't a fair fight. And for once, the advantage belonged to humanity. On the Nightingale, operating on backup systems after losing its whisper core, Reed received the transmission from Admiral West. The Council fleet is in disarray. Their command structure has collapsed. We're moving in to secure their surrender. Reed allowed himself a small smile. Any word from the rest of the Council? That's the interesting part, West replied. We're receiving transmissions from several Council species. They're disavowing any connection to the invasion, claiming it was an unauthorized action by the Syndicate faction. Politicians, Reed said, echoing Vex's earlier assessment. There's more, West continued. A group calling themselves the Council Reformation Committee is requesting to send representatives to Earth. They want to discuss membership. Reed looked around at his crew, humans who had taken alien garbage and built something that had changed the course of history. Tell them we'll consider their request, he replied. But on our terms. 3 months later, Reed stood in the rebuilt whisper core chamber of the Nightingale. After the battle, Vex had emerged from hiding, bringing with him other alien allies and more whisper technology. The Syndicate thought they were being clever. Vex explained as technicians installed new, more advanced whisper nodes, giving primitives trash, keeping them busy sorting garbage while planning to take their world. They didn't expect us to build something like this, Reed said, gesturing to the ship around them. That is why my faction chose humans, Vex replied, his 4 arms making a gesture of respect. You see patterns others miss. You build wonders from scraps. The Syndicate feared that potential. We wished to nurture it. Reed watched as the new Whisper core began to glow. And now Earth sits on the Council, the first of many changes. The old powers called you disposable. They will learn that was their greatest mistake. Outside the viewport, Reed could see other ships under construction in Earth's orbital shipyards, each one built around Whisper technology, each one named after birds that sang in darkness. Nightingale, mockingbird, whippoorwill, owl. Together, they formed the beginning of what the Council now called, with a mixture of respect and fear, the Whisper Fleet. They had given humans trash. Humans had built something that changed the galaxy. And it all began with whispers in the dark.